Adam Stockford in this race and Tom Matthews for state representative for District 35. She's the vice chair of Branch County Republican Party, and she's going to come up and talk about what she's got going on.
Thank you. Thank you very much for putting me in. I'm trying to get to another township meeting, so I've been doing the township circuit tonight, or all week actually. So, as John said, my name is Jennifer Wortz. I currently live just south of Quincy, Michigan. My husband back here is Nate. We've been married for 24 years. We have 4 kids who are almost all nearly grown now. Our oldest son is married, and he has 2 kids of his own, so I'm actually grandma. And then our 2 middle kids are in college, and then our youngest daughter is a sophomore in high school right now. We have lived just south of Quincy, as I said, for about 20 years. But I grew up here in Hillsdale County. I'm actually a 5th generation graduate of Waldron High School. Some of you might know where that is. Yeah, and my parents are Gary and Bonnie Leininger. My dad was the county treasurer here for 36 years in Hillsdale County. So after high school, I went on to Michigan State, and I got my degree in agriculture in 2000 from Michigan State. And then Nate and I got married that same year, and then we started having kids right away. So I ended up homeschooling our 4 kids for 13 years, and then I also taught in public and private education some. I currently am serving as the Branch County Conservation District Manager, and then we also own Central Grace Farms, and we raise 500,000 chickens a year for Miller Poultry. So, are you eating chicken tonight? Oh man. What's that? That's awesome. Good one. That's a dad joke right there. I'm running for state representative because I'm concerned about the overreach of government into agriculture, education, small businesses, personal property rights. Another big one right now is even local government with the changes in the zoning edict, I'll say, that the governor just made, and that we no longer are going to have control locally for our own zoning in our own communities. And then personal, family, and individual rights. In 2020, I sat outside on Thanksgiving Day looking through glass doors where my grandmother sat inside motioning and begging for me to come in and see her. And I couldn't because of the governor's order and then the penalties that would have happened to my grandma if we would have taken her out. She was in hospice care at the time, and she actually passed away 3 days later, alone, with none of her family present. I think this is criminal, and it, among several other reasons, is why I'm running. If elected to Lansing, I'll work to defend the constitutional freedoms of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I would appreciate your vote on August 6th to send a granddaughter, a daughter, a wife, a mom, a grandma, and the first ever woman for the 35th District to Lansing to represent you. If you have any questions, I have some literature in the back, my cards, and lastly, I just would say that I will work to be a voice for the voiceless and a defender of freedom. It's been something I've been very passionate about my whole life. So thank you. I saw one hand back there, so is that okay? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I have kind of a 2-part question. Are you Brent Leininger's sister? The same Brent Leininger that sued this group? That's having a meeting tonight with 12 people, and you could have went there and talked, but you chose to come here and talk, even though he's the one that sued us and has done all this litigious stuff against us? Just asking.
So I'll answer the first part of that. I am Brent's sister. Brent is Brent, and I am me. I couldn't have told you what Brent was doing tonight. We don't have daily or weekly check-ins. So I will represent the people of Hillsdale and Branch County and the city of Hudson. So that is, if I'm elected, that is my responsibility. So I may not agree with everything my brother does, my brother may not agree with everything I do, but at the end of the day, we're family, and we, put our differences aside, and we gather together, and life's too short to spend it on what we don't agree on.
Question, you mentioned that the governor made a meeting that take all the zoning away from us. Is that from the bench or is that from the House, in the Senate?
So the last thing I just heard, and I have not thoroughly researched this week, but was that she actually signed this order that then it gives this, it's a committee of 3 people that will have zoning. So the townships can still make zoning ordinances, okay? But if they decide that it's interfering with their green agenda, then this 3-panel board can override local zoning regulations.
Is this the panel was given to her from the House and the Senate, she signed?
No, they're not in session right now.
That's unconstitutional, she
Right.
can't do that.
Right,
I'm sorry,
yes.
you can't do anything from the bench.
Which, and I should have said, I forgot to bring them, but I actually have petitions, Farm Bureau, which we're involved in, and another organization is working to get it on the ballot in November. We need to collect 550,000 signatures is the goal to do so. So if you come Saturday night I also wanted to mention this. I'm the vice chair of the Republican Party in Branch County, and our Lincoln Day event is Saturday night at Tibbetts in Coldwater. And we will have petitions there, and the lady actually that's locally collecting signatures to get this on the ballot to ensure that zoning control stays locally.
I just want you to know that you cannot pass law from the bench because Constitution.
I agree.
Even with a mask.
But she couldn't have said that I couldn't enter and see my grandmother, but the penalties were there if we took my grandma out or if we went in. And so,
So it's still unconstitutional.
yes, I
You gotta
don't
have money.
disagree with that.
You gotta sue her, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would like to know, first off, if you get into the office, do you uphold all of our values?
Bill of Rights, 100%, proud on that. Sanctity of life, 100%. Limited government, yes. Individual responsibility, yes. Lower taxes, I think we'd all like that. Limited subsidies, yes. And balanced budgets, absolutely.
Okay, the second part of that question then is, do you recognize the difference between our party and the alternate party here in Hillsdale County?
I guess, what do you mean by that?
I'm talking about Brent Langer's group.
So, what do you mean, do I recognize the difference?
Do you recognize what the difference is between our 2 parties?
For the original party, I've been here for 51 years. That's, unfortunately, your brother tried to take over the party, it didn't work, because they fixed the election, and none of us. We actually, that party is the party lot lobby.
Well, I don't want to get into what happened in the past and over here with your group. I think it's unfortunate. I think ultimately, a lot of things happened to cause division in the last 4 years that have not been good for the Republican Party and conservative values overall. And I think there comes a point where you have to decide, how are you going to work together, and how are we going to make sure that we have conservative values in leadership in Lansing and in local places. And so how you do that here, I think there should be a committee that you guys try to figure that out.
It's hard when we
Maybe
get sued.
through the state, some arbitration, some mitigation might be a good source, but ultimately, party disagreements need to be resolved within the party.
Which is our.
Yeah. Yes.
So, not so much a question, obviously there's a little bit of animosity around here because of you being related to your brother. I don't think so much the question was about which party or whatever, and I think it's good that you're here too. I think the main question was like the difference in principles between this party and the actual, they don't follow those principles right there. That's why this party exists. If they followed those principles, we wouldn't have done this.
But how do you know that? Have you asked them?
I've watched them for years.
But have
We
you
all have.
actually asked and had conversation? Because
And yes,
I can
have.
look at these and I could say, well, I'm pretty sure that
Words
people
and actions are totally different
that I
things.
know follow those values. So, again, I don't wanna debate. I would just add, I talked to a gentleman on Friday, had a really good conversation, and one of the things he told me that I think we often forget is, you know, we're not gonna agree. We've been married for 24 years. Nate, we don't agree on everything, do we? But where is the common ground? Where can we find common ground?
Right behind you.
And so, coming and having conversations, and, again, I don't know exactly what that looks like for you guys. I know we went through some things in Branch County, when I became a precinct delegate 2 years ago, that some of the people left, some have come back, but I feel like over time, we've been able to kind of come together and rebuild, and, we have probably about as many as you guys that show up here to a meeting, so, you know, you gotta, do what you can to work it out, and essentially divorce is the last option. I don't know where you guys are at, and they're at on that, but I sure hope that when it comes to November and working towards getting conservatives elected, that between now and then, there can be some progress made in working together. Yeah.
Yeah, one other thing I want to mention, because the topic was brought up about not knowing if there was anybody on the other side who didn't follow any of these. I can personally say yes to one, because she is my grandson's grandmother on the other side. She is one of his members, and she is against sanctity of life.
Okay, well, again, I'm not sure exactly how you worded that, but, you know, you have to have conversations with people, and I think sitting down and really talking with people, and I don't wanna sit here and point fingers. You know, I came here because I am a person that will go to people, and I don't care what somebody else says, and you can say what you wanna say about me, you can say what you wanna say about my brother, but until we sit down and have a meaningful conversation, how is anything ever gonna change?
They did, the party did, as you're saying, you know, they did, you know, if they followed the same edicts that we have. But our biggest problem with them is that they didn't even follow the bylaws of the Michigan GOP. And that's where we ran into the biggest problem with them, is because they didn't try to look for that revenue.
But don't you have your own bylaws? Because we have our own bylaws, and we follow those over the
Has
GOP.
their bylaws,
Right.
the Hillsdale Republican Party.
Right, just like Branch County does.
Jen, I can answer that one for her, like when you're done, I'll answer that for her.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, because we follow our Branch County bylaws. Yes, sir.
Okay. You believe in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, correct?
Sure.
Okay, there's a word in there that a lot of people overlook or just say it, and that's individual. And I don't know if I said that. Okay, but there will be no separation. That's what it's saying. No separation. The people that you see here, we did not separate. We stayed together. The others were the ones that separated and would not come back in and talk to us. I've talked to some of them one-on-one. I've talked to some, you know, but they will not come back. And they will not come back to take the break or the division that's there and that together. It takes two to get that to work. So it's not just us, and it's not just the people that stand here. The people here have been hurt by lawsuits, by different money out of our pockets for what? Frivolous things that should have never happened. There could have been a time to come together. There was lies spoken that, and I've been here, and I've been here ever since the breaking. I've been here for the other, and I know what happened on the nights that these certain things happened. Jealousy came in. Now, some people say, what do you mean by jealousy? Because they didn't get what they wanted, which caused a spirit of jealousy. And this jealousy in turn caused a division. But yet we pledge allegiance to the flag every time we do, and we say the word indivisible, okay? But where's the life in that? Where is the standing for that, what the flag stands for? And the pledge that we make to the flag that we would not be separated.
So can I just ask you a counter question when you say that? So I had a meeting last week with Dr. Beer, Dr. Bud Beer, 98 years old. He tried to come. He was elected as a precinct delegate in 2022.
Right.
And he was banned from entering.
Not,
He was banned from the August meeting.
okay, and who was the one that banned it?
There were armed guards that kept him from entering. He walked right over here. I mean, he told me that.
I don't wear a gun all the time. I do have the right to wear a gun. And a lot of other people have a right, and the church here has given us permission if we want to. Now, that, you know, a lot of us wear guns, and a lot of them do. Let me finish, please. So what we need to do, it had nothing to do with somebody being armed. But my question is to this, and if that was the case, why was there somebody there at the parking lot that had a gavel in their pocket and had a slate in their other pocket, ready to take over at the time when all this started?
So are you saying you didn't let those people in?
No,
Or you did?
they were allowed to come in.
They would have been allowed to enter.
Yes.
So you're saying Dr. Beer, a 98-year-old man,
I know Dr. Beer personally.
is lying?
No,
He might have, well,
he's not lying.
I think
I don't think Dennis actually knows, that's where I'm kind
Okay,
of, so that's why I was gonna help.
set up.
yeah.
So let me. So, all right, in 2022, your county clerk rigged a precinct delegate election.
yeah.
All right, you guys all know that, right? So our leadership said, if you're gonna rig it, we're gonna block the people. We did block people. That is technically by MCL, they say that's against the law, right? But as we're seeing, as we're all experiencing bylaws, because this, to be honest with you, I don't think any of this has been really challenged in a very long time, because you had the neoconservative body running GOPs for X amount of years, right? 85 was the last coup. So it's been a long time, right? So nobody's opened up bylaws 20, 30 years. So now we're experiencing a different ideology coming up swelling through the body here, and then you got neoconservatism that's been in control. We did block people at that convention that we felt that were participating in that precinct delegate rigged election.
So GOP punished us for it.
Yeah, we were punished for it. Go ahead, Tim.
I personally,
Tim's the supervisor of Somerset Township, by the way.
and I've made phone calls to the leadership of this group, I made phone calls to leadership of the other group, tried to pull them together. And obviously that didn't work. But in my opinion, we're drifting from what I feel everybody came here tonight to get the candidates. I don't care what that other party's doing.
Thank you.
Let's get back on track.
So I just wanted to clear it up. I wanted to say thank you to Jen for coming out here, because think about what it takes, the kind of balls she has to come out here to confront us, right? Yeah.
I'm a woman and I know what that is.
She wins, I'm gonna support her.
Yeah, right, you mean the primary. Yeah. So, in my heart, I believe Jen is a conservative. And I got to give her kudos for coming out here to come in front of this crowd. And to be honest, Tim, it's a big deal. And this body's put in a lot of work. I understand a lot of people, most of the people that came out here are actually here for multiple reasons. I know there's a new audience here though too, so thank you, Jen, for coming on up. So yeah.